Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new. My name is Kai and without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into today's video. So today I am back with probably one of my last summer sets for this year. And I say one of because I think I have another one coming after this one, but we'll have to see. But I think it's about that time to start closing off summer nails because summer's almost over, guys, and I'm ready for fall nails, I'm not gonna lie. And as you can see, my nails are already nice and prepped because I just want to jump straight into this video. If you want to see more of my prepping process, I will make sure to link one of my past videos in the cards above for you guys to check out. So yeah, just went ahead and prepped my nails, and unfortunately my nails are probably going to be short for a little while. I am done. I am retired from the delusional lifestyle, okay? My nails are not going to be long ever. I've settled with that. It's fine. But anyways, let's get into it. I really just want this video to be nice and chill. And if you can't tell, this video is not a voiceover. I'm actually talking in one of my videos and I haven't done this in so long. I don't really do these types of videos anymore because I just talk too much. Like, I'm a yapper. I need to stop. But I just want to have some fun. I just want to do some cute nails and chill with you guys. So let's go ahead and get into it for the third time. So the first thing I'm going to do, since I already have my nails prepped, is just go ahead and size out all of my nail tips for today. The nail tips that I use, I do believe that I got from Shein, and I will try and find a similar link to the ones that I got. It has been a while, so they might not be the exact same, but these are just some regular no C curve XXL square nail tips. And I love these because they're very versatile. I can cut them down to whatever length I want to do. And yeah, I just find that they work really well for most of my nail sets. So I'm just going to go ahead and size all of these out. And as always, I like to make sure that these nail tips fit sidewall to sidewall, just to ensure that once I move on to the shaping process, that I don't run into any issues later. Okay, so to cure on these nail tips, I'm going to be using this portable lamp, but if you don't have something like this, you can use any like generic gooseneck lamp if you have one, or if not, you can always use a regular UV lamp. It might just be a little bit more difficult. But for today, I'm going to be using one of these. And to help me cure these on, I'm going to be using some base coat. If you are doing these nails to last, definitely do use regular nail glue instead. I'm only using base coat because I am working on top of a peel off base coat, as you can see. So what I am going to do is just place the base coat into the well of the nail tip. And I'm really not using too much because I don't want this to flood onto my skin. And before I press this down, I'm just going to turn on this lamp. I like to hold it so that way it goes to the 60-second setting. And then I place it down, making sure to utilize the entirety of the nail well. Make sure that it's straight, and then I go under. So this is not straight. So I'm gonna have to take this off and do it again. I'm gonna do the rest and then I'll come back. Nail tips are on. I did straighten out this one a little bit. My pinky nail is definitely very crooked, but when you look at it like this, I think they're fine. So I'm just gonna leave it. So now we're gonna go ahead and cut these down. And to cut these down, I'm gonna be using some tip cutters, and I don't know if I want these to be medium or long nails. Not really sure. I'm thinking maybe to like here. I don't know. I don't know. This is weird, but like I've been really enjoying doing like short to medium nails a lot, and you guys can't see my right hand, but I do short nails on this hand all the time. And I don't know, am I kind of exiting my long nail era? I don't know yet. But for today, I think I'm gonna keep them maybe here. Actually, I don't know. Maybe that's too short. Okay, so like maybe here is a good length. Okay, it's crooked, but I think this is a pretty good length to go with. Okay, and at this stage, I think I'm just ready to move on to the application. I usually don't shape up the ends of my nails because I'm just gonna end up shaping them later. So let's go ahead and jump straight into that. Okay, so now we're going to get into the application for these nails, and for today I'm going to be using my Valentino Bad and Bougie acrylic and my Macart monomer. So in my last video, okay, my application was actually pretty trash, so I have to redeem myself today, and I'm a little nervous because it's kind of hot in here, so we're gonna see how this all goes. But yeah, let's go ahead and get straight into this application. Alright, so we are now moving ahead into the application portion, and for today, again, I am using some Bad and Bougie acrylic from Valentino, and I'm pairing that with my Macart monomer. Now, my first time using this acrylic back when I first got it, I did pair it with the Valentino monomer, but for some reason, I don't really like it yet. I still have to play around with it and see if maybe it's just a temperature difference or maybe it's just a difference in formula from the Macart one that I'm used to. But anyways, I decided to just pair it with my Macart one because I'm used to the consistency and the drying time. Even still, my application isn't that great because again, it's kind of warm in my room, which I'm so sick of my application being trash because of the temperature. Like, I need to figure something out. I think a lot of people do just put their monomer in the fridge for a little bit. I will have to remember to try that next time, but for today, yeah, we just had to make it work. But anyways, yes, we are getting into this application, and I do think that in the future, I do want to do an updated application video. I do have, I believe, 1 or 2 videos that I did a couple of years ago, and they're definitely very outdated, and I want to just do a new and improved version of that. Which, speaking of, you guys have let me know that you guys definitely want some more educational videos, so those will be coming sometime this year, and hopefully next year too. Hopefully I have some ideas then as well. But yes, I actually get kind of nervous to do educational videos because I've always been under the impression that I'm not really the greatest speaker and that I'm not really good at teaching people about really much of anything, but you guys actually seem to enjoy them and find them to be useful, so that is something that is going to be coming very soon. And so far the collection of how-tos is looking pretty good, and I'm very happy that I'm actually sticking with this because yeah, I don't really do too good with sticking to things. I kind of just start things on a whim and never finish it, kind of like my anime nail series, which I really hope I can start up again because I did one video and never did it again. Not because I don't like it, but because the animes that I watch, I don't really know if they're going to be good for nail sets, but I don't know. I definitely think I'll just have to really put some thought into these nail sets and figure out a good plan for those. But anyway, I am going to go ahead and be quiet for this portion because I find this portion of the video to be the most relaxing. So enough of me talking. I'm going to let you guys finish up the rest of this application, and of course we'll be back to shape and file these nails. Okay, so the application is all done and here is what everything is looking like so far. Now my application is better than it was last time, but it's still kind of warm in my room, so it's not my best work. So we've got a little bit of fixing to do. I'm just going to be following the normal shaping process that I do for all of my square nails. The first thing I'm going to do is just file the sidewalls, the undersides, and the tip of my nail using my nail file from Pana. This is an 80/80 grit nail file in specific, and I like to use these for harder products such as acrylic, but you can always go with something like 100 or even 180 if you're using something softer like polygel. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. And I also forgot to mention, I am going to be filing the main body of the nail using the same nail file. I typically like to do this before I file the edge of the nail. So yeah, I'm going to do that. Also, if you want to see more about how I shape my nails, I did do that in my last video, so I will leave that in the cards above. Let me know if you guys want to do a more like in-depth series on shaping nails, because that video was more of a simplified version of how I shape my nails, but I really only covered square nails in that video. So let me know if that's something you guys want to see. But yeah, anyway, when I'm shaping the main part of the nail, I really like to avoid the apex area. This area is going to be filed later with my hand drill. My hand drill. Yeah, that part's going to be filed with the hand drill, so I'm not going to worry about this area. I'm really going to worry about making sure that the tip of the nail is as straight as possible. As you can see, it's kind of bowed. There is kind of like a slight U shape in the center of this nail, so I really want to file it to make sure that it's as straight as possible. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, so now that the main surface of these nails are filed, I'm going to start working on the apex area. And for that, I'm going to be using this carbide bit here. I use pretty much the same one in all of my videos, but that's because I actually really love this bit. I like it better than using a sanding band because it also gives me a nice smoothing effect without having to actually buff the nail. But of course, feel free to use whatever works best for you. You can always use a sanding band, or you can even use a nail file if that's most comfortable for you. So yeah, for this portion, I'm really going to focus on making sure that the blend between the product and my cuticle is nice and seamless, and that my apex is as round and curved as possible. All right, so all of the shaping is done, and here's what these nails are looking like. Now we're finally going to go ahead and move into today's nail art. Now this one specific nail set that I have seen, I've literally seen this, not even joking, like 5 times just today. So, you know, I'm starting to think like the universe is like, girl, just do this nail set. Just do it. And this is the nail set that we're going to be doing today. It is inspired by 𝘲𝘠𝘰𝑠 Nailography over on Instagram. And again, I've seen this nail set done by so many different nail techs, so I will make sure to try and credit them if I can find them. The really annoying thing on Pinterest and even on Instagram sometimes is y'all are not putting the credits. Like, y'all gotta do better. I get so stressed out trying to find these because it's so hard to find. Please, if you're posting somebody's work on Pinterest, can you credit them? Like, can we do that? Like, it's not that hard to ask. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this nail set. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just clean off these nails with a little bit of alcohol just to remove any excess dust. Okay, so I'm gonna try and keep this as simple as I can, or I guess not as complicated in terms of like the steps. I don't know, this isn't simple at all, but I'm gonna figure this out. So I think the first thing I'm gonna do is work on this nail, and I'm pretty sure this is a chrome base with some cat eye gel on top of it, and it's bordered with the yellow gel polish. So I'm gonna try and do that first. Now, unfortunately, my chrome powder isn't the exact color, at least I don't believe it is. So hopefully this nail set gives the same vibe. I don't really know, but we're going to be using this one. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is just paint the entirety of my pointer finger using some sheer black gel polish. And I'm trying to like find a clean one because sometimes I just throw these in here and they're not even clean. Perfect, great, okay. And in order to get this black, I did end up using some black gel polish from Beetles mixed with a little bit of top coat. I have had to learn the hard way that it's top coat you're supposed to mix it with and not base coat. So if you're trying this chrome method, definitely do not make the same mistake that I did. It is top coat, not base coat. Anyways, the first thing I'm gonna do is just paint the entirety of this nail. And because it's gonna be bordered with that yellow gel polish, I'm not gonna go all the way to my cuticle area and on the edges and sidewalls of this nail because you're not gonna be able to see it anyways. So it's not going to be that important. So I'm just going to get this on there in a pretty even layer. Okay, and I'm going to cure this for about 15 seconds. And I'm going to go straight in with this purplish pink, I guess magenta chrome powder. Now that I actually have a chance to look at it, I think that this might be the right chrome powder. So I think we're off to a great start. And I guess while I'm here, I can get a head start on these French tips because this ring finger is going to have the same chrome powder effect. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quickly. I'm going to use the longest liner brush that I have, and I'm just going to create a nice French tip on this nail. Now in the reference photo, the French tip is very low on the nail. I want mine to be more deep. So I'm going to start like maybe like here. We'll see. I always like to start with a line in the middle just so that I'm aware of where the center point is, because sometimes you can kind of lose your sense of direction when you're doing a French tip. After that, I'm going to establish the height of the French tip. So I'm thinking I'm going to go maybe to like here. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. And now I'm going to go from sidewall to sidewall into the center line here. And this is a little bit difficult to see because my black is so sheer. You can definitely use a little bit more black for yours. I kind of just don't really feel like adding more, so it's fine. I don't know why I choose to make my life harder, but I think I'll be okay. I'm going on either side and just making sure that it's as even as possible. So kind of like that. And then I curve it in on either side of the nail. And after that's done, I'm just gonna fill in the rest. Okay, from what I can see, it doesn't look too bad. So cross fingers that this looks good after I put the chrome powder on top. And same deal, I'm gonna cure this for about 15 seconds. Okay, moment of truth. Is it my best French tip? No. but is it good enough? Yeah, why not? Let's move on. Now, the easiest part is getting these two French tips on. These are just going to be using the yellow gel polish. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back. Okay, and I'm back. So after doing the French tips, I pretty much just stopped talking for the rest of the process. At this point, it was like 10 o'clock, almost 11 o'clock at night. So I was really on crunch time, and yeah, I just really had to get a move on. And I feel like this usually happens when I am filming a video where I'm not really doing a voiceover, I'm more just talking in the video. I start to get really distracted and time starts to slip away from me. So I usually just stop talking, put on a TV show, and just get into it, get in the zone. It's really weird though, because sometimes I really find it hard to focus when I have something on, and other times I feel like it helps me focus better. Like for example, I think during this day I was watching Hoarders, which I know is so old lady-ish of me to be watching Hoarders. Like I need to stop. And speaking of, I watch the most random TV shows that I can think of. It's so weird. I feel like a lot of people are into like actually entertaining shows. Like I know everyone for whatever reason is obsessed with Love Island US, which I don't really understand. I mean, to each their own. But for me, what does it for me is like 1,000-Pound Sisters or Hoarders. Like I'm so weird. And those are like my two favorite shows at the moment. I know I'm so weird, but seriously, it's so good. I've always been very interested in learning about other people's lives, and yeah, I just find it to be very interesting. But anyway, had on Hoarders, had a good time, and we knocked out these nails. So after I got those French tips on, I really just wanted to focus on the pointer finger. I thought it would be a lot more tricky than it actually was, but it was pretty simple for the most part. The hardest thing that I had to deal with was, of course, the fact that I'm working on top of a peel-off base coat. So these nails were definitely starting to lift up a lot easier and quicker than I was expecting them to. So once I got around to bordering that pointer finger with the yellow gel polish, I found that it wasn't as neat and as smooth as I would like it to, because the acrylic was starting to lift up. And usually that isn't too much of a problem, but for today, it was just really kind of gross looking. So yeah, I tried my best. But either way, I think that the pointer finger came out very nicely, and I was very pleased by how similar it actually looked to the reference photo. So yeah, pretty proud of myself. So next we're going to get into some of these blooming gel nails. I'm going to go ahead and paint the French tip on my pinky finger using some blooming gel. And I want this layer to be as thin as possible, so I'm not going to go too crazy with all the gel here. And then I'm going to dot that magenta/purple color onto the French tip area. I'm going to be doing some different sized dots, making sure that they're not too close together, because I don't want there to be just one big blob of pink on this nail. I'm going to be doing some of those dots towards the curved part of the French tip, and then some towards the tip of the nail. And then of course, before I cure, I always like to make sure to wipe down the sides and just make sure that nothing is flooding. And likewise, I'm doing the same thing to my ring finger, except these dots are going to be slightly larger. And for this nail, instead of using that pink, I'm going to be using a mauve. These dots again are going to be different sizes, but for the most part, they're going to be pretty large and mostly towards the center of this French tip. And now that those blooming gel nails are done, we're going to get into some airbrushing. The airbrushing for this nail set is kind of confusing because I wasn't sure what colors were being used. So I ended up going with a light peachy / light orange color for the tip of the middle finger. And for my thumbnail, I ended up using that same light orange. Unfortunately, it just looked white against the magenta, which I didn't mind too much. But in the reference photo, I think there was a little bit more depth and color variation. But even still, I liked it. So I went ahead and just wiped down the French tip area just to make sure that that airbrush was nice and isolated. And then I went ahead and cured that. So now we're going to get into what absolutely makes this nail set, and that's going to be these 3D flowers and the starfish on the pinky nail. For these 3D flowers, I'm going to be using this pink sculpting clay that I got from Shein, and every time I use these, I always mention how much I love these, and I honestly do. I love them so much. I think I got a pack of 16 different colors for like $5. I could be wrong though. It's been a while since I bought these, but as always, I will make sure to have these linked in my description box. I am not affiliated or sponsored or partnered with anything or anyone. I just really love these, and I think that for the price point, these work really well. Of course, they're not the greatest quality, and sometimes they do get a bit crumbly, but once you get the hang of working with these will absolutely change your 3D sculpting game. Like, absolutely, no doubt about that. Also, sorry if my voice sounds really raspy today. My allergies are really being annoying, so I apologize for that. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna do these flowers, and I'm working with these flowers one bead at a time, and because these flowers are pretty large, I am using some pretty big beads and of course a silicone tool to help me mold everything. For the most part, you really just want to take your time and use the right sculpting tool for the effect that you're trying to get. Because I wanted the edges of the flower to have most of that thickness, I wanted to use this tool that's more cone shaped, so that way I could flatten out the center while also making sure that things are nice and smooth. And usually in between every 1 to 2 pieces, I do like to quickly flash cure everything just to make sure that things are staying in place and not moving around. Now for this pinky finger, again, we're going to be doing a starfish, which is kind of a little bit more tricky than the flower. The main difference is that instead of all of these pieces being separated, they're going to be blended together. And again, these sculpting clays can be kind of crumbly, so it definitely takes a little bit of finessing and of course, a little bit of patience. And for the flower on my thumbnail, I just went ahead and did the same thing I did on my middle finger, except I'm using a yellow sculpting clay. Now, what's really going to make these flowers and the starfish pop is by adding a little bit of depth. And for this middle finger, I'm going to be bordering the flower petals with the same magenta that I used on my pinky nail. And I'm really just going to be striping the edges and kind of gently blending it into the center. I don't want to completely cover up the base color because I want some of it to still shine through. So I'm not going to go too crazy with this pink. the center of the flower, I'm going to go in with this bright orange. Now the starfish itself actually had some airbrushing, but I didn't feel like doing that, so I just stippled on the color and blended it out as best as possible. And once I got the desired color in the center of the starfish, I am going to draw like some lines in between each of the 5 parts of the starfish. I don't know exactly what it's called, but you see what I'm doing. You see it. And I do think that the lines made it a lot more convincing, because at first I wasn't sold, but once you get the lines on there, it definitely starts to look like a starfish, or I guess a sea star, whichever one it's called. And then afterwards, I went in with a couple of dots just to add some more detailing. And similarly to what I did on my middle finger, I did the same thing to the flower on my thumbnail. And now it's time to close off the nail art with, of course, some charms. And I feel like this is what really ties this nail set together. Even though the charms are pretty basic, I really do feel like they pull things together. So to get these charms on, I am, of course, using some rhinestone glue. And for the most part, I'm going to be sticking to a few simple like ocean charms, if that's what you want to call it. I'm using these shells, I'm using some sea stars, and I'm also going to be using these iridescent pearls that came in this pack. I'm also going to be pairing that with some white pearls as well. And I really just followed the reference photo as close as I could, just to make sure that I wasn't doing anything that would look crazy in the end, because I don't trust myself enough for that. But yeah, just getting these charms on with my rhinestone glue, and I'm going to be curing them down in between using my UV flashlight. Now at this point, I quickly realized that I was missing a bit of nail art, and that is these 5 little petals on the ring finger. So I just quickly did that with the yellow gel polish and a dotting tool. And before we get into more of the charms on the ring finger, I'm doing some 3D swirls on this nail. I feel like I've done this a lot within my past few nail sets, so it's pretty much following these same steps that I always do. I'm placing the rhinestone glue directly onto the brush, and then I just draw the swirl on. I don't really know how to describe it, but one thing I will note is that using a long and thin brush will create a more smooth looking swirl, if that makes sense. If you use something that's kind of thick, it's not really going to taper out as nicely at the ends, so that is something to be aware of. And similarly to what I did on my other nails, I'm going to finish off this nail using those charms. And that's going to finish off the nail art. And now I'm going to close off this nail set with a little bit of top coat. I'm making sure to completely cover all of the pearls and the gems using this top coat just to make sure that they're not coming off. And I especially want to wrap the 3D flowers and these starfish, again, for the same reasons. I really don't want this to come off, especially considering that, as I always mention, these clays don't really stick down that well unless you're working on something that's really, really sticky. So definitely make sure to wrap everything in this top coat as best as you can. So these nails are all done, and here's what they are looking like. And to finish off this nail set, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of cuticle oil. And that completes today's set. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this one. I was actually really stressed out about explaining how I got this nail set because it just looks so intricate and detailed. But honestly, after explaining it and going through all the steps, the one thing I realized is that these nails are not as hard as I thought they would be. It's just the length that makes them look difficult. And with that being said, between the designs, the color scheme, the charms, and of course the length and the shape, I love these nails. It's been quite some time since I've done a nail set with so few colors. This nail set only has two main colors, which is obviously the magenta and the yellow, and I really do like it. It kind of reminds me of an older nail set I did probably a couple of years ago at this point, and it's just giving me so much life and so much nostalgia. So let me know what you guys think of this one in the comments. I would say that this is one of the first nail sets in a while where I don't have a favorite because all of them are just all so unique on their own. But I do think that if I absolutely had to pick, it would absolutely be the pointer finger. I love anything with cat eye gel and glitter and like shifting iridescent colors. Like I just love that. It's so cute. And even though it wasn't as neat as I could have gotten it, I really do like the outline and how it goes so well with the rest of the nail set, even though it's the only full colored nail. So shout out to 𝘠𝘠𝑠𝑢li's nailography. She definitely did her number on this nail set. And again, I've seen it done so many times, and I really do think that this is a very customizable nail set. You can do it on different lengths, different shapes, and even use a combination of different colors. And I think that makes this nail set extra special. Like it just works in so many different variations. Now, of course, I can't leave you guys without a rating, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this on a scale of 1 to 10, as I usually do. I think this goes without saying, but this nail set is definitely a 10 out of 10. I absolutely love every single nail on their own. They're so pretty, and I'm so glad that I didn't wait on this nail set because I was honestly just ready to jump into fall nails and just say, you know what, summer's over, even though it's not. It's like basically over in my head, but I'm glad I did this nail set. So again, let me know what you guys think of this one. I am so excited to get into my last few summer nail sets and share them all with you guys and just hang out and just chill and enjoy the rest of the summer. But anyways, I hope that you guys found this to be entertaining and relaxing, but that is all that I have for you guys today. As always, I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and I will see you guys in the next one.